The big news, if you can't tell by the title, Seeds of Relegation, relegation may be coming to the United States, but not in the form you think. So, for those of you who have not seen it, in the United States, there's the MLS at the first tier, but in the second, third, and fourth tier are something called the USL leagues. There's the USL Championship, which is the second tier, USL League One, which is the third tier, and USL League Two. The USL Championship is splitting. Essentially, the USL is going to form a top flight league to compete with the MLS and is teasing the idea of promotion and relegation. So, here are just kind of the parameters for the new league. It's going to be 12 to 14 teams. The stadiums are going to have a minimum capacity of 15,000, and at least 75% of the host cities are going to have a population of at least 1 million. Stadium capacity. I'm just checking something real quick. So, right now, as it stands, the current 6 teams being promoted to this USL, top flight league are as follows: is the Sacramento Republic, Louisville City, Phoenix Rising, and the Las Vegas Lights. Those are the only teams that currently fit those parameters, and those are the only teams that have currently accepted a bid for the 2027-2028 season. More teams will follow, so the idea is they're going to promote these teams for this top flight league out of the 2014 USL Championship, which is split up in East-West divisions, much like MLS. But they're also opening the idea to if there's any new teams that want to be created. So the team, much like other teams in North America, Central America, and South America, are going to play spring to fall, which is a big difference from the fall to spring schedule that, all of Europe is on, minus one country. All of Asia is on, all of Africa is on, all of Oceania is on. So now you may be saying, Garrett, the MLS is established. The MLS has been established since the 1990s. USL, NASL, whatever you want to call it. USL is the successor to NASL, the oldest league in America. But you're saying, Garrett, the MLS is established. How is this going to compete? So I've got some things for you on why I think this league can actually hack it. This league, I think, in my mind, could possibly take it to the MLS. Do I think they'll surpass it? No, but I think they'll be a good addition. And I think it'll draw a large crowd, not only because of relegation, but for those of you who haven't seen the news, the MLS is considering switching to align their calendar with Europe, just to make things cleaner with the transfer window as more MLS players are going back and forth between Europe and America. This is where I think the USL has a big opportunity. The MLS is already behind a paywall on Apple TV. A lot of the games are already on Apple TV Plus, so it's behind a double paywall. But now you're going to ask MLS, this is still a hypothetical, they haven't decided to go to this, but their teams are going to try to go to this so it much more aligns with international breaks and stuff like that, and scheduling conflicts. But the MLS is now going to have to compete with, namely, the European leagues at this point if they do that, which is that's already be tough. Playing at the same time. I know they play at the same time right now. There's some overlap, but that's the beginning of the season versus the end of the season. But the prime of the season is going to overlap with the prime of the season. They're going to compete with the NFL. They're going to compete with college football. The height of their season, where all the drama, towards the end of the season, who's making the playoffs, is going to compete with March Madness, the NHL playoffs, not even the NHL playoffs, the height of the NHL, the NBA and the NBA playoffs. I don't think that's going to be a smart move. I know a lot of soccer players want to make that switch. But I think if MLS does that, if the MLS matches schedule with the rest of Europe, I think you're opening the door to giving the USL League a lot more success than it already would have. Because the USL is going to keep that normal American schedule. I don't know what their TV deals are going to be like. This idea is still in its infancy. However, the U.S. Soccer Federation has given its stamp of approval for the USL to create a competing league. So I don't know. For me, if MLS makes this switch, you've opened the door for this competitor to not only exist but succeed. Now, like I said, I don't know what TV deals they're getting, but if they're able to get like, possibly ESPN3, even if it's, ESPN Plus, that's a lower barrier to entry than most MLS clubs right now. You've essentially like this could be a massive blunder. Now, MLS switching to the European calendar was a thing before this whole USL, top flight tier 1 soccer league. So the MLS may be reconsidering that, and I think they'd be wise to reconsider that if they don't want competition. But ultimately, in my mind, I think competition is going to be what's best. MLS currently is not set up for promotion relegation. They're very much structured like the rest of American professional sports. But the USL leagues aren't quite like that. They're not afraid to take the risk regardless. And I think that's good. USL teams, particularly at the bottom, start and fold just as quick as they came. But this is also on the heels of some massive restructuring within the league systems. For those who don't know, several teams from the MLS Next Pro, which is essentially the academy level of the MLS, some of them have been promoted and accepted bids into the USL League 2. Some of these teams include the Vermont Wintergreen team, another team within this. USL League 2's got many leagues. Vermont Wintergreen, the Boston Bolts, BlackRock, Albany, AC Connecticut, Western Mass, the Charlotte Eagles, Charlotte Independence 2, NCFC's U23, Winston-Salem, Tobacco Road FC. There are some teams in here that are considered farm teams for the MLS that have now left MLS Next Pro and have joined the USL ranks. So is this the start of the collapse of MLS's empire and monopoly? Maybe. Do I think so? No. But I think the winds are changing. I think if the MLS is a ship in the ocean right now, you've gone from having a favorable wind to you're starting to see warning signs. You're starting to see that red sky in the morning. So, red sky in the morning, sailors take warning. The winds are shifting in unfavorable directions. There's kind of maybe the storm's not here yet, but you're starting to see dark clouds kind of out over the horizon. If you're out on a boat in the summer, you can see the rain columns start to form. If you're MLS, that's you right now. I'm not saying these leagues can't coexist, but I'm saying if MLS wants to retain its, kind of notoriety as the top dog, there's warning signs right now. I don't know if you'd agree, and I know, our whole spiel on this is you're educating me on MMA. I'm kind of like, guiding you through soccer. But just from like kind of an outside perspective, would you say these are warning signs? And if you're the MLS here, there's definitely blood in the water.
My thing is MLS just has so much money synced into it, and it's the brand that I know.
Yes.
And that's what it's really banking on right now. And you see, with this new like format, I do see it being kind of a better like situation, mainly in the fact that it's not competing with the viewership of uh, other international leagues, and also the fact that there's the possibility of a lower barrier to entry. I understand that the Apple deal is really great for MLS, has done like so much for money and stuff. I don't know a single person that has Apple TV. I have an Apple phone. Maybe I have Apple TV. I don't know. and I never cared to look. I know what ESPN Plus is. I know what Peacock is. And if this new league is able to get a somewhat decent TV rights deal, I'm going to start to say, okay, let's start taking notice. And I'm skeptical with how the regulations set, because I always hear like these, Gareth, I've heard your tangents time and time again about how every single sports league needs to adopt a relegation system, which I have tolerated in your somewhat non-sober tirades when you make these arguments, but I don't know how Americans feel about it. Granted, I like that they're starting it in a league where like the format is going to be built around it. You can't put it in the MLS right now. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know how new fans of MLS will feel seeing that their local team that they just got attached to, like Charlotte FC, got relegated year one. Like, I'm sorry, that's not good for morale. But relegation's good if you're already building it and you don't have a lot of like the millions upon millions of dollars synced in like the MLS does. I'm not going to jump the gun and say this is the MLS killer, and I'm not going to jump the gun and say this means nothing. I'm just going to sit back and I'm going to watch. Let's see how this plays out. If I had to give like my uh, ignorant, but my guess of percentage of like what I think, let's say this does take down the MLS. If I had to put it at a percentage, I say there's a 25% chance or a 20% chance that this takes down MLS. So I give it like a 1 in 5 shot. Not nothing. Like definitely something that should be considered right now, but I don't think it's a sure thing.
Oh yeah, I definitely don't either. I just think this isn't I don't think this is necessarily an MLS killer. It's kind of like when, in college basketball when a 1 seed's playing a 16 seed and they're kind of playing with their food. You know,
Yeah.
you're going into halftime, you're either up 2 or down 2 as the 1 seed. You've looked awful, like the players look uninterested, like, you're not grabbing rebounds. And I'm not saying MLS or anything's uninteresting. I'm just saying with everything that's been happening, if you really want to solidify yourself at the top as the top dog, like if you want to do everything you could to solidify yourself, you're not doing that. Yes, they still have the money, they still have the brand, they're still getting a load of money from Apple TV, but you're leaving these little doors open. You're leaving these little doors open, chinks in the armor. You're giving them little ways in. Now, when it comes to like the whole scheduling thing, I think after this announcement, MLS likely won't make the change because I think if you do that, they're asking for trouble. I don't think that would dethrone them, but I think it would harm their chances of staying the top dog. Like you said, the 25% chance. I think that's what like it would widen the gap if they were to do that. If they
Yeah.
were to make that scheduling change to align with Europe.
Hmm.
But for me, like I said, now I will say with promotion relegation, I don't think the NFL needs it. I only ever joked that with like, when teams are really bad. The NBA, I'll just say that to piss the NBA fans off. The NBA needs promotion relegation. I'm sorry. It's boring. It's boring. NHL, I'm fine with. NHL, I'm fine. NHL is very similar to baseball in that it's got its farm system. I get it. Okay.
I'm just tired of these like NFL needs relegation test ass arguments. I don't want to see the freaking New England Patriots to be the freaking uh, Bismarck whistle farts because because they had an ass year. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to see that shit. I don't want to see the fucking the Carolina Panthers go up against the Rock's San Antonio Brahmas just because we were off one year, and then I have to watch a whole last season of the Carolina Panthers playing with Dwayne the Rock Johnson on the sideline, going like, "Can you smell the relegation?"
I will say with the NFL, I have an interesting proposition for the NFL, and I guess this will kind of segue out of our soccer section. I have an interesting proposition that I think could work with the NFL. So you know how you kind of have the farm system in baseball?
Yes.
Use these other leagues as like a farm system. Like I don't know how long the UFL is going to last, but the NFL has the money, and as we've seen as of late, these people who we've like written off as like busts after getting a few good years under their belt, either backing someone up, they've turned out all right. Like Sam Darnold, look at him. Justin Fields for a bit was looking pretty good. I think if UFL, spring league football, all right, you take NFL teams, not all of them have to do it, they take a UFL team and say, hey, like, you're ours now. And essentially you can use it to like develop players, send people down to. I know with baseball, you can't really I guess you can't really pull the baseball thing and like send players down to rehab them because like it's still a fucking contact sport. Jimmy, who's a mailman on the
You
side, is
pulled,
gonna
you
fucking
pulled your, tore your ACL. Damn, man, get some more CTE out there.
you tear your ACL and Jimmy the
Get a
fucking
concussion
mailman.
protocol. Needs to play 1 week at UF.
You snap your ACL, you go down there to get your feet under you, and then fucking Jimmy the mailman, who's you know, or even worse, the UFL, they add another league below, like they send you to the Arena League, and fucking Jimmy the mailman fucking snaps Justin Fields' other ACL after coming back. Like, I can see it now. I don't mean that. I just mean like develop talent. Like we've seen so many people labeled as busts, like kind of have breakout years. Or you could keep it as a way to keep tabs on people, like identify talent, maybe like, when undrafted, or maybe they weren't ready to play pro football then, but after a few years with like, the Brahmas or something, or like a few years with the Houston Renegades or whatever they are, the Roughnecks now, after a few years, maybe it's like, hey, they do look kind of pro ready, give them another chance,
Yeah.
it would increase the competitiveness for the league. Honestly, I think more people would watch it if they had a NFL affiliation with the team. Like, hey, let me check out the guys we're developing. Now, do I think that's going to happen? Do I think they're going to implement like a farm style baseball system? No. But I
I think
do
they're going
think
to use it like that, like
like
as the
scouting,
spring.
yes.
Like they're just using it as that. I don't think a single team's going to go like, this is ours now. Like I
Yeah.
don't see
But
a 30 like in the foreseeable future. I do see the UFL expanding, but I don't see like a 32 like team league. I
yeah.
mean, I would be down if you could like give one of those to us. Like that'd be fun. Like during the summer, go to like a freaking game at like Carter Finley. That'd be fun.
No, I would. Then we used to have an Arena Football League team, I'm pretty sure. The
Yeah.
Raleigh Durham Skyhawks. We also had a semi pro basketball team at one point. Blueberry fact. Blueberry fact. Let me see. I'm pretty sure. Do we still have an Arena Football League team? Football teams in Raleigh. Let's check it out, folks. Oh, what in the world? Oh yeah, the Raleigh Durham Skyhawks. That's it. They played at Carter Finley. This was a World League of Football.
Blueberry fact.
Blueberry fact. Their colors are as follows. It literally says NC State red, Kelly green, and black. They played in NFL Europe.
I didn't even know NC State Red was a thing.
I think it's just because they were doing it to pay homage because they played in Carter Finley.
Oh.
Which I forgot to. Oh wait, I can't say that on here. Never mind. We're gonna cut that. That's not public knowledge. I've been told I can't reveal that yet.
Do I know this?
Yes, you know this.
Okay.